So pick me, choose me, love me. I don't know. Hello, I'm Cheyenne.
And I'm Frankie.
And this is
Conbini Cult.
Welcome to this week's episode. How are you doing, Frankie?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm still recovering from recording our last topic that we just discussed. It's a little heavy one, so if you have some time, please give it a listen or a watch if you would like to.
Yeah, it was about the documentary Black Box Diaries.
Yes, so we do give a trigger warning in that one. But anyway, we are doing fine. It was a great discussion, and now we are recording our second episode of the day, and it's a bit more of a lighter note, so I'm excited to get into it. But since it is a lighter note, I just want to ask, like, how was your week? Do you have any like life updates?
I should have thought about this.
That's fine.
I should make notes about these because every time you ask me, I'm like, I'm good. Let's start the topic because I don't know.
I mean, I think it's fine. I think it depends on the topic too. Like our topic, like about the previous episode, Black Box Diaries. I don't think we needed to get into fun life updates so much. This one is more of like a yap session. So I just wanted to see like what's going on recently. Me. I plan to do two things tonight. The first one is hopefully take down my Christmas tree.
That's not what I expected to hear. Okay.
It is March 23rd as of the day we are recording this, and so we are well past Christmas. If before you come at me and you're like, oh my god, like why, whatever.
It's not that bad actually.
Is it not? Okay, good. I was getting a little worried.
If it was like September, and you're like, well, I might as well just leave it up.
Oh yeah, that's wild to keep it up for like the whole year. No, my reason is so I like to take a Christmas picture. Like I don't even send out Christmas cards. It's more just like, like a Christmas picture in front of the Christmas tree with my partner every year. And we just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. And so I'm like, we gotta take our picture before we put the tree down, and so that's like the only reason why I'm keeping it up. And this year's it's gonna be a special picture, so that's why I'm like waiting this long, because it would have been down a long time ago. I would have given up a long time ago. I mean,
but so there's a reason.
Yeah, so there is a reason it's up.
What was the reason?
I've kind of what was the reason? But I've kind of set the deadline to today, because we've been saying like, okay, we'll like take the picture, like we'll do it today, and it's been like months since then, so I'm just gonna get over it. If it's not by today, we're gonna take it down and we're gonna take our picture somewhere else.
I think today would be the perfect day.
Yeah, I mean, I did my hair, I did my makeup. I'm like outside of the house.
This outfit would be cute for it.
Yeah, it would. Thank you. Yeah,
really compliment the Christmas tree.
It would. Yeah.
That the Christmas tree would compliment you.
Or I'm thinking like, shoot, we do have matching pajamas. I know, lame, but like I'm thinking we'll wear matching pajamas or something too. I don't know, but that is the first thing I'm going to do tonight. Hopefully, the second thing I'm going to do is watch Wicked. Finally. Yeah, and so you've seen it, right?
Yeah, I saw it a few days ago.
Yeah, we've been
It only took half a year, but it's here.
We've been talking about it for a long time now, especially because when did it come out in the US? Like November?
I think at least 6 months ago.
Yeah, and it finally came out here in Japan this month on March 7th.
March 7th, yep.
And so I'm finally going to see it, busting out of my, I don't want to say house arrest, because people are going to assume I like did something. No,
it's not a crime. You're just not feeling well.
No, I just like haven't been feeling well enough, and I've got like doctor's orders to stay home and to like rest and recover at home. So it's my first time outside in a long time. So I'm excited to break out and go see Wicked. But anyway, that was my long update for today.
Okay.
Yeah, but now we can jump into today's topic. I was kind of, curious what were some pick-me behaviors here we experience here in Japan
or
after
like Last Samurai.
Yeah.
People who are like, I must defend Japan to the death.
Yeah, and so just a quick refresher for maybe anyone who doesn't know, what would you define as a pick-me girl first, and then we're gonna get into the pick-me gaijin, which is today's topic. But as a pick-me,
so pick-me girl, I would say is someone who tears down other women in hopes of getting male validation. Do you agree with that definition?
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay.
What is, do you have like an example of like pick me behavior, like a pick me girl statement?
The classic, I'm not like other girls. I don't wear makeup. I'm not interested in shopping or fashion. I like sports and video games.
Like, all my friends are guys because girls are just too much drama. That's like, I think, the most well-known pick me statement.
True.
I don't want to say pick me girl so much, so I'll just say pick me. But yeah, and so I was kind of thinking like, those people definitely exist here in Japan, or like, you know, anyone who is like living abroad in a different country, you probably experience them like all the time. And so I call them like pick me gaijins. I know people feel a certain way about that word. I'm just using it here as a foreigner myself in this silly context. Please don't think about it too hard. If it makes you feel better, pick me gaikokujin. That's okay too.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not using it as like a derogatory person, but just like pick me's in Japan, general term. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So should we do our little disclaimer?
Yes, actually.
We're just being silly.
Yes.
And of course, we love
living here. It's been 8 years. Yeah.
So we hope that you're not just hating on other foreigners because we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Like High School Musical. We're all in this together.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I danced to that song at my 6th grade graduation.
So cute.
Yeah. I love that movie. But anyway, at the end of the day, it's not that serious.
We just wanted a fun topic. Hopefully you can laugh at some of this stuff, the ridiculousness of it. And I think, I'm sure we'll discuss this at some point, but we probably all have a little pick-me behavior in us sometimes.
Oh, yes.
We're human.
I'm going to get into it. A lot of my examples, unfortunately, come from like personal experience. I try my best not to be this way after 8 years of living in here in Japan, but I think about like first year in Japan me.
Oh,
ooh,
cringe.
Ooh. We don't know her. We don't associate with her, but like it's very, very cringy. And so again, a lot of this is coming from self-experience and like self-deprecation too, I guess. Because like Frankie said, we're all in this together. But before we get into that, although we are all here in the same boat, unfortunately, there are some people here in Japan, foreigners specifically, who treat other foreigners not so kindly, right?
Yeah.
You would say?
Yeah.
And so Frankie has found a wonderful
nice little
Reddit
post to get us into the topic.
Yeah.
So would you mind reading it? The title is Why Do Foreigners in Japan Treat Other Foreigners So Badly?
Okay, well, it's something I've noticed clearly since I came over here, but it's really baffling. Foreigners in Japan tend to be really cruel to others, mocking people for having low-paying jobs, for being single, for getting divorced, for having alcohol problems. I've seen it all. At first, I wanted to file it under Redditors are just jerks, but even in my home country, people, on Reddit or otherwise, would absolutely be called out and told off if they mocked a newcomer for working a low-paying job. People making light of divorces and stuff would be seen as socially or mentally ill. They definitely wouldn't get upvotes. I also considered it was just a Japan thing, but I don't see Japanese citizens behaving this way, nor do I see people being nasty to low-income Japanese workers, such as delivery drivers or convenience store workers. It seems that this behavior is only prevalent when gaikokujin, are interacting with other gaijin. Why is that? I'm genuinely curious. Generally, people in similar situations stick together and support each other, yet it seems to be the opposite here. Ooh.
Yeah, there's some good points in there.
I would agree, yeah. I mean, like, we goof and gaff and we joke a lot here too, but when does it become just, not bullying, but like...
gatekeeping, bullying, yeah.
Thanks for finding this. Okay, I'm excited to see the comments.
Yeah. Okay, so the top comment, I've also noticed, my take, downvote me, I'm ready. Bunch of mostly guys have a sort of okay life in their own country, not great socially, not a great romantic life, no great professional outlook. They love Japan. Come to Japan, everything increases to some extent at first. They invest everything here, get an English teaching job and a Japanese wife, to the point where going back makes little sense. Soon they realize they're in traps, their job sucks, and they have no outlook for progress. Their relationship and their wives suck for a reason or another. They're far from friends and family, they feel lonely and stuck. This in addition to a society that will let gaijin be gaijin and not require them to polish their quirks, and self-centeredness equals legions of very rude guys that are sour and will downvote this into oblivion, be rude to each other and the world, and develop a Last Samurai complex. That's not everyone, of course. I've met a bunch of great people, but I feel like this fits a lot of people on here. Japan subs on Reddit, and a non-negligible portion of foreigners I've met in person.
Preach. I also love how they said, I'm ready to be downvoted, that's fine. And they got
so many upvotes.
So many upvotes.
Over 1,000 upvotes.
Yeah. Preach. I love that.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. So there was just one response from a Japanese person that I thought was interesting. Cool. A response to that top comment.
Okay. They said, even I, a Japanese person, sense tensions among foreigners in Japan, particularly between foreign men and women when they communicate. They seem to harbor dislike for each other for certain reasons. Moreover, English teachers are often accompanied by their so-called Japanese friends who constantly praise and worship them, allowing to avoid altering their behavior, thereby exacerbating the situation. Many of them focus on or are interested in the reasons why the other foreigners come to Japan and what led them to legally reside in the country, such as marriage, employment, etc. However, I don't/cannot blame them for this, as Japanese people living abroad do the exact same thing to other Japanese people.
Oh, I never thought about that.
I never thought about that, actually, yeah.
Okay.
Well, good to know. It's not just like us here in Japan. It sounds like every group does this towards each other. Living abroad?
So.
I don't know.
Yeah. Why do we gotta act like this? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that Reddit post was a good place to start.
Yeah, no, that was a great place to start. Thank you for finding that. Yeah.
No problem. I was trying to find posts about if they said like Last Samurai or a lot of it was about samurai.
Yeah, I think, was it in this thread too? Because, the top comment was explaining, usually, not all, men who aren't like, really going anywhere in their home countries, they come to Japan, they love Japan, and then, they have all of these things like the box checked, like the wife, the kids, whatever. And then in my mind, I was like, aren't those losers back home? Like, don't we call those the LBHs? And I think someone did comment it, right? Yeah. Okay, that wasn't like my imagination. Okay.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
And someone also replied to that with the comic of Charisma Man.
Oh.
Let me show you.
Yeah, show me that. What is that? Charisma Man? Is this a well-known thing?
I think so. So, all right.
Dumb question. Do I read it this way or this way? Okay.
Left to right.
Okay.
So this is a comic strip about a character called Charisma Man.
Okay. Can I read it in like a comic voice? Okay. Back on his home planet of Canada, our hero was just another average guy.
Geek.
But when he landed on planet Japan...
What?
He became... Charisma Man!
How cute!
Watashi wa Charisma Man desu!
But can our hero defend himself against his arch enemy, Western woman?
Uh-oh! Geek! Can Charisma Man save himself in time? Find out in the next chapter.
Okay. That is a very silly one.
I love that. But, naruhodo? Yeah. I see. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, not every pick-me situation that we're going to be talking about falls into this category. But yeah, that's a silly thing.
I love that.
Too.
I gotta go back to Charisma Man. Is this like a comic drawn by a foreigner living here in Japan? Like, where's that from? Like,
that's so true. I don't know. Who made Charisma Man?
I don't know. Like, I'm sure there's gonna be some people who are like offended by it or whatever, but like, that's so funny. Like, come on, you have to admit. Like,
it's silly.
It's silly. It's not that serious. But if there's like an actual manga or like comic about it, like like a weekly.
Would you read the
Yeah, it's funny. Like, come on. It doesn't hurt to, have some humor and just dunk on yourself once in a while. That's what comedy is, Okay. Anyway.
Exactly. So before we get into some of these situations, I just wanted to say, when the borders closed at the start of the pandemic, there was a time when only Japanese citizens could get back in.
Yep.
It was a few months. So it didn't matter if you had a proper visa, if you were a permanent resident, if you had a job, if you had an apartment, if you had a family, you couldn't get back in. And after a few months, they eased up and they started letting visa and PR holders back in. But there were people who were paying rent for months.
Oh, that sucks.
Apartments they couldn't even access. So, doesn't matter how much ass you kiss or how well you immerse yourself. Even if you change your citizenship, some people will always just consider you a foreigner. So you don't need to like give up every part of your identity in hopes of fitting
in. Because like the sad reality here is that you just won't like be a part of.
That's okay to have your own special, unique qualities. And that's not to say like don't bother trying to learn the language or immerse yourself, but keep part of yourself too.
For sure. And one thing to mention, this is like for people who like weren't born and raised in Japan. Because like I know this is totally different from like people who are half Japanese and half another nationality who are like born and raised here, who are like very obviously Japanese, you know, and like they face a lot of, you know, discrimination. And so we're not talking about them in this conversation or in this statement. Yeah. Just wanted to make that clear because I know someone's going to come for us maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
But I like this point. But anyway, we're going to get into it. And like we're going to dunk on some pick-me behavior and stuff. One thing to open it with, I guess, is are we pick-me's for doing this episode?
Probably. In a way, yeah.
I mean, probably.
We said we're going to dunk on ourselves too. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So some behaviors that you might see, I guess.
Yeah.
A lot of people try to rationalize like xenophobia and discrimination.
Yeah.
So for example, they call it the gaijin seat.
Yeah, it's like a term actually here. We're not making this up. Okay, yeah.
What is the gaijin seat?
Well, the gaijin seat, maybe you've seen other big creators talk about it, like specifically shout out Mr. Patrick. But the gaijin seat is basically where you are riding a train and you are sitting down. The train isn't crowded, so you have space to sit down. And maybe, what is it? Like, there is an open seat next to you. And even though that is the only seat available, so now the train is crowded, like all the other seats are taken, the only one open is the seat next to you or next to the foreigner. A Japanese person will avoid sitting down in that seat by all costs. They would rather like stand up or like be packed somewhere else or whatever than sit next to a foreigner, is what the gaijin seat is, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Good. Why they do this? I don't know.
I've seen so many people try to like rationalize. Like, well, why would this happen?
Yeah.
So I've seen people say before, like it's because foreigners stink. Like in the summer, maybe you have BO, maybe you wear too much perfume, or you're like physically too big.
I mean, whatever. The reason. I mean, no. I don't think that is the case.
Yeah.
Like you can tell, you know, when someone looks at you, like looks at the seat, they go, "Oh, move towards it, look at you." And then look at the seat again, and then they like go somewhere else. Yeah. Like it's very obvious the reason why they're not sitting down next to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also a lot of people try to make themselves feel better, I guess, and be like, well, it's fine. I'm happy to have the extra space. But the reason for it is kind of sad, don't you think?
It is sad. Especially like when, let's say you don't stink, obviously. Let's say you don't stink. There's more than enough space next to you. It's not a crowding issue at all. Like there's nothing preventing that person from sitting next to you other than maybe your skin color or something. That's when it becomes an issue. And so when people try to rationalize the gaijin seat or whatever, they're clearly not thinking like, you know, about the rooted discrimination in it, I think. Yeah. And so.
Yeah. Oh, I've also seen people say maybe they don't want to sit next to a foreigner because they don't want them to talk to them.
Yeah, or like ask them for directions or whatever. It's like,
but a lot of people don't talk on the trains anyway.
No, it's just silly. Anyway,
the other one is getting denied for housing because the landlords will just straight up be like, no foreigners, without asking about your Japanese ability or how long you've been here or anything. They just right off the bat,
I know.
No foreigners.
Yep. Has this ever happened to you?
Yes.
Oh, I think we talked about it on a previous episode.
Probably.
And they give you no reason besides like, oh, no foreigners.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of funny, you know, but self-deprecating. It's funny being at the real estate office and, you know, like going through, okay, I like this place. And they're like, oh, hang on a second. Let me call the landlord.
Yep.
So I have a foreign. Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah. So I have a foreign. Okay. Never mind.
Yeah. Like you can hear the defeat in your like realtor's voice too, because like this has happened to me a lot before too when I was like moving from one part of Chiba to another to like be closer to the city. So I did all of that on my own, and it was so frustrating because you feel like you get so far, you find a place you like, you contact the realtor and everything, and even the realtor is like on your side, right? They're doing their job. They want to like, you know, not sell but like rent this place to you too. And so they call the landlord, and like same, I've gotten a lot of like hi, rough translation into English. Like, hi, I'm calling from ABC Realtor office. I have a potential tenant that is interested in your property. Yes, they can move in from next month. Yes, they have the money. Oh, Japanese? They're from America. Yeah, okay, I understand. Bye. And then they just have to tell me, like, they didn't rent to foreigners, essentially. Like, it is such a shitty situation to be in, unfortunately. But,
Yeah. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. And like this one, rationalizing, this behavior, I've unfortunately, encountered a couple of times where, what is it? So this one apartment building, they did previously rent to foreigners. And I think they had one tenant, not like back-to-back tenants for like years and years, just one tenant where they refused to, or they just wouldn't take off their shoes when walking in the house. And maybe it left scuff marks. I don't know even how that information got up to the landlord. Like, I don't know how they would know that,
That's true.
Like not wearing shoes inside. So maybe there was damage. I don't know. But like basically it came down to them not wearing or, not taking off their shoes in the house. And ever since then, that landlord just doesn't rent to foreigners ever. Because they're kind of like, well, you all just wear shoes inside, so no, I'm not going to rent to you. And then I've like encountered those pick-me people here in Japan where they're like, well, yeah, like, don't you know when you're in Japan, you don't take off or you don't wear shoes in the house? Sure, like people should know that, but also like you don't need to blame, like, you know what I mean? Like that person's one behavior doesn't encapsulate like all foreigners trying to live here in Japan. And it was very much a like, well, yeah, like no wonder that landlord doesn't rent to foreigners because like that foreigners always like wear shoes in the house. And like you saying this as a foreigner is kind of like, okay, check yourself a little bit,
Yeah. It's a more rationalization for that. Yeah, foreigners are dirty or they're going to leave the country without paying rent or something like that. When I left before I moved to Osaka, when I left my Tokyo apartment, I was trying to get back some of my deposit. So I cleaned that place really well before I left. And the landlord, she came that day and she did a walkthrough. And I mean, I thought this lady was pretty nice. Yeah. She would also, because I had a first floor apartment and you could see I had a lot of plants on not a balcony because it was first floor, but the little veranda outside area. Yeah, but she even brought me like succulents before because she was like, I thought you liked plants.
Nice.
Here you go. But when I left, she was like, wow, this place is so clean. I didn't expect that at all. Yeah. She said I had Vietnamese tenants before and they left the place really dirty.
Oh my God. Okay.
This one person.
One person and also very unnecessary to like comment, but okay. Yeah. 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 I've had one landlord, not me. This is like someone I know. They were living in an apartment complex, like both Japanese and foreigner people were living there, and they were on the second floor. And I think the Japanese tenant was on the first floor. And what were they complaining about? There was like mold in the apartment or something. Like mold, like no one can, unless you like leave wet stuff around or whatever, like no one can just like conjure up mold, especially mold in the walls. Like, it was clearly not this person's fault.
Yeah, that doesn't come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and like, so the Japanese person living on the first floor had like mold in their apartment and it was like on the wall or whatever. And they brought it up to the landlord and the landlord blamed it on this person I knew who is a foreigner because they had a pet fish, and they're like, the fish tank, it's causing the mold in the whole building. This, like, foreigners, they love, like, having pets, and, like, this fish tank is, like, causing mold. Where, like, they didn't have mold.
Would it? I mean, I used to work at a pet shop, and, like, yeah, the fish tanks get funky. But
fish tanks get funky, but, like,
black mold.
It makes sense if there was, like, mold behind the fish tank, surrounding the fish tank, in their own space. It's like, what does this fish tank have to do with, like, you living on a different floor with the mold in your wall? So it's just, like, they'll find any excuse to, like, blame, the foreigner, unfortunately. Yeah. Anyway, do we have any other...
Yeah. So we asked some people on Instagram if they could share some weird comments that they've gotten, not just on like social media posts, but in real life too, just things people have said to them that are like, okay.
Yeah. And we got a fun list. So
yeah, and we have personal experiences as well, so we'll share some of those.
Yeah, so I think actually, before I get into my personal ones, I want to go into the Instagram ones that I received.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to scroll a little bit here.
Yeah.
And we can kind of, if we have any comments, I guess, make comments on them.
Okay.
One pick-me thing that a lot of people say here is, you don't even like natto. Like, has anyone said that to you? Or like, have you heard that said to anyone?
But I like natto, so I'm actually a better foreigner because I like natto.
Yeah.
No one said it to me personally, but not even all Japanese people like natto.
No, a lot of people,
just a food.
Japanese people hate natto, actually. Yeah.
It's a normal food that people either like or don't like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you'll catch a lot of that here. It's like people thinking they're elite because they like a certain Japanese food or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, also just want to say that, not liking a food is fine. That's totally different than somebody like trying it for a video and be like,
yeah. How do you, I was just going to ask, like, how do you feel about those videos? Like people who like gag and stuff, like.
That is too much.
Yeah.
You cannot like it and just say, it's not for me.
Yes. Okay, great. I'm glad we're on the same page about that because I really feel
I just thought of that.
a certain way about that. And maybe it's like my like inner child being triggered when like, I didn't experience this as much in Hawaii because we're all like pretty mixed. There's a lot of like mixed kids around there. And for the most part, there's a lot of like Asian Americans or like Asian people growing up in Hawaii too. So what we eat is pretty similar, but like, you watch like movies or hear experiences of, and a child of immigrants, for example, bringing their home lunch to school and then like people making fun of them for bringing like, I don't know, quote unquote, stinky foods. And it's like kimchi or like curry or whatever. And it's like, all right. Ben, sorry, not Ben. I know a friend named Ben. I'm like, no, it's not Ben. I was trying to think of like a really like white name. But anyway, like, okay, Steve, Jimmy, whatever, eat your peanut butter sandwich and like call it a day. We don't need comments from you. But anyway, yeah. That's why I like those videos where people like gag and stuff makes me like, yeah, so unnecessary.
That's too much.
Yeah. Okay. The next one, sorry, that was a long one. The next one, I actually should have read this one first because this one came up like more than once.
Ooh.
In my comments was people who say like, I only have Japanese friends, or honestly, I have like no gaijin friends. I'm only friends with Japanese people, or things along those lines of people who are like refuse to make friends with other foreigners.
Oh, that sounds like I don't hang out with other girls because they're too much drama.
Exactly, which is like why it is fair to categorize it as a pick-me comment. Yeah. Have you met anyone like this?
Well, no, because I guess they wouldn't want to talk to me.
I guess so, yeah, actually, right? Yeah. But thankfully, I've never encountered anyone like this too, but it sounds like a lot of people who answered my poll did, so that sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, another one is, you've never heard of obscure cultural practice? Like
the ancient concept of, I don't know, wabi-sabi.
Or like, you don't know what ikigai is or whatever. Even I barely know what ikigai is still.
I have a point about that later.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Like that, or like, oh my god, you've never done like sado before, like tea ceremony or something. It's like, in what opportunity would you have to do like calligraphy or tea ceremony unless you're like, paying for that experience, looking for that experience? Because like, sure. Anyway, in everyday life, like, no,
Yeah.
Another comment was, I only sleep on futon. Like,
yeah,
good for you.
Good for you if you like futon.
What are you, like above a mattress or something? Like, it's fine to just want a bed too.
They're immersed.
Yeah.
I mean, not to hate on futons. I like it.
Yeah.
Just personally, I have a bed at home, but I don't mind sleeping on one.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted.
Another one was like, I love Daiso or Donki. And I think what they're implying is like, those are the only two stores you should ever shop at here in Japan. You know what I mean? Like as if, I don't know, other stores don't exist. I'm not too sure. But I got that one. Another one was people who just suggest ichiran for what you should eat in Japan. I'm not sure if that's a pick-me one, but
I feel like maybe the opposite would be more pick-me, like, oh, you went to ichiran?
Oh, you mean me? Oh, you mean me 1 year ago in episode 1 of this podcast.
We were craving ramen and you had ichiran.
And you had ichiran? Yeah, I am guilty of that. So good. We're gonna spin that one a little bit, and yeah,
It's okay.
I'm guilty. I'm sorry. Ichiran.
It's okay. This is also a self-reflection.
Self-reflection for sure. I mean, I'm not going to back down on my statement, though, that I'll retract my statement saying it's not good because I've eaten it and it's great. I slurped every last noodle in that bowl. It's the fact that that's like the only thing people will want to eat here because of a TikTok they saw. You know what I mean? It very much gives the like, come with me to this secret place in Japan. And then it's like the most common restaurant chain ever, you know? Like, so. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll stand my ground on that one. Like, go to other places. It's fine. Okay. You gonna read a couple others?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, this is one of our friends.
Yeah.
People have told her, I don't want other foreigners to come here because they make me look bad.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up to say.
That's like, are you just that? Maybe you kind of suck. So,
Yeah. Like, you ever just thought, like, you suck? Like, yeah. I don't know. Oh, actually, I'll read this next one because I have an example.
Okay.
Someone said a pick-me behavior they hate is like when the person they're talking to talks back to them in Japanese, even though they've been speaking to them in English the entire time. That
like
makes
another
sense?
foreign person doing this?
Like, so let's say you and I meet for the first time.
Yeah.
And then we're both native English speakers. Like, it makes sense for us to speak English. And then I'm just like, I don't know, like, say something to me in English.
Hey, it's nice to meet you.
Hajime mashite. Yeah, it's nice to meet you too. Like,
Oh, so how long have you been in Japan?
どれくらいかな? Like 10 years or something. Like, not even like, that was kind of like a mild example, but I would say like people who, because there's a difference, right? If you speak two languages especially, I totally get the L2 coming out because that's the way language works, you know? Sometimes your brain thinks in the other language and it says, but like, it's like the people that this person is talking about who like actively only want to speak Japanese to the other person who maybe doesn't even speak Japanese or like doesn't want to speak Japanese, or like it's just like a way for them to I would say brag or show how much Japanese they can speak.
Oh, okay.
Even though it's like unnecessary.
Oh,
you know?
You mean like if we're having a conversation and I'm like, oh, like what are you doing later? Do you want to go to karaoke?
Kind of. Yeah. Like I don't.
What's karaoke? I only know karaoke.
Exactly. Like maybe that is a better example, or like. But anyway, another example I've had of this happen is like I met this person. All names anonymous, but I've met a person like this. I am from Hawaii, the USA. Unfortunately, a part of the USA. And this other person I met for the first time was also from the USA. We are both native English speakers. It is our first time meeting. There is no reason for me to speak to them in Japanese. The situation is we were like coworkers at some point, and they had just come to Japan. I went to the airport to go get them. And so I'm talking to them. I'm introducing myself in English, and I'm doing all the standard, like, you know, questions to get to know them. Like, oh, like, is it your first time to Japan? Like, welcome, nice to meet you. Do you study Japanese? And this person, like, actively made it a point to call Japanese Nihongo in the whole conversation. Like every word around our conversation was English. It's just like they only called Japanese Nihongo, which is the Japanese word for Japanese. And so here's like a reenactment. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Cheyenne. Is it your first time in Japan? No, it's not. I've been to Japan before. Okay, cool. So have you studied Japanese? Yeah, I've been studying Nihongo for about 2 years. Okay, do you like studying Japanese? Like, trying to emphasize the word Japanese. They're like, yeah, but like, I think I'm gonna continue my Nihongo studies for like a little while longer, but I can, and I'm like, okay, so you speak Japanese? Like, is that okay? And they're like, yeah, I can speak it just fine. And I'm like, okay, great. You know? And then they were kind of like going off on this like vibe of like, how dare you call Japanese Nihongo? It's called Nihongo. You know what I mean? It's like the people who refuse to call like, I've never met this person, but like calling Japan Nihon, even though we're like just talking about Japan and like, I don't know, in English speaking context, or like people who, when we're speaking English, calling croissants, and then someone gets all snooty, like, it's a croissant,
no, it's croissant.
You know, like that. It was like very much giving that. And so they were like, oh no, like I speak Japanese, like getting kind of mad at me just for asking if they could speak Japanese. It was like a introductory question, I don't know. But then a Japanese person came up to them, their supervisor, and started speaking Japanese to them because they said they could speak Japanese. And guess what they did? Froze and did not know how to speak at all. And so like that's kind of what I meant by it, is like actively not using English or like actively not using a certain language when the other person is like just trying to have a conversation with you. Yeah. Okay. That's a weird long explanation. I had to get that off my chest.
All right. Oh, okay. Another pick me behavior, doing a podcast about life in Japan. Oh,
yeah, one of my mutuals said this. I want to say it's like a semi joke, but like it's kind of true, don't you think? I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but I thought it was funny. I had to add that in there, despite the JK they sent afterwards.
Yeah. It's okay. We can dunk on ourselves.
Yeah. Another one someone said was people saying squatty toilets are only dirty because of foreigners.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
Yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure like all foreigners are like actively trying to avoid the squatty potty at all costs. Like,
or you get the people who love the squatty potties.
Oh, that's a good pick-me behavior. Is like, what, you don't even use the squatty potty? Like, you can't even use washiki, toire? You know, like, that's a good pick-me comment too, actually.
Yeah. But not even all Japanese people like to use the washiki. No. Like sometimes there's a line for the restroom and the washiki will be open, but nobody wants to go in there.
Like, admit it. It's hard to use. It's bad for your knees if you have knee problems, like, you know, and so it's not the most accessible, I would say. It's dirty, like, because usually there's like piss everywhere around it, not from foreigners, just from like miss. Yeah, it's just easy to miss, and like anyone can miss, you know. It's not a good time. Yeah. I avoid it at all costs. Yeah.
Okay. Somebody's saying, I remember when this place wasn't full of tourists.
Guilty. Oh. I say that once in a while. I've probably said it on the podcast a lot. Sorry. Yeah.
I probably do too. It's only natural.
But I do remember. No, okay. Okay. Right. Let's see. Oh, this isn't a pick-me behavior. Someone just wanted to mention, like, they met someone who spoke Japanese really well, but they only used Duolingo for 1.5 hours a day and just like watched anime, and I guess was able to speak Japanese after that.
Japanese?
Well, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean,
kudos. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I've never heard of anybody who could speak Japanese well from Duolingo. Yep. So who is this person?
Never breaking your streak. Or what are you gonna do now that the owl's dead? Didn't they kill that owl or something to Duolingo?
I thought it resurrected. I don't know.
Oh my god, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on. But anyway,
no idea.
One way to spin this into a pick-me behavior is I only study Japanese from watching anime. That's why I can speak Japanese so well or something.
I thought you were going to be like, oh, you're studying Japanese, but you're using Duolingo. You don't know anything.
Well, look at us. This is probably why we can do this, is because we've experienced the pick-me behavior, or we're low-key pick-me's at one point. And like, I feel like there's always a way to spin something into a pick-me.
That's true.
Yeah, right.
What else? I don't know if it counts, but you can never be happy or successful as an English teacher in Japan crowd or type of people who were once English teachers. I know the options are limited, but there's a lot of junky jobs. I'm quite happy and passionate doing it because that's what my career is. I'm an English teacher. Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people know this, but there are a lot of people who like come to Japan to teach English because their major in college or their background is linguistics and teaching English and TESOL, and like there's nothing wrong with that's what I am. I went to school for linguistics and I have a degree in like teaching English to speakers of other languages. And that's like, what I studied and what I went to school for. And that's why I came to Japan originally, was to be a full-time English teacher. And so, for people to just, I don't know, think they're better than English teachers here in Japan, whether that is like, your main goal because you want to be an English teacher and love teaching, or because that's the only thing you can do in Japan. Either way, it's not fair to think you're better than others for doing it. But yeah, very pick me. That's true.
Okay. Do you want to go to your personal ones, or should I read my Instagram responses?
You read your Instagram ones, and then we'll go into our personal ones. Yeah.
Okay. So some of the ones that I got from my Instagram, I just have a few. Somebody saying, I had a horrible time because the place was crowded with tourists. Said by a tourist.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all guilty. Oh, another one of my friends, she told me she was at her home station and she was standing in Tokyo, standing on the the right side of the elevator. Whatever side you're not supposed to stand on.
Yeah.
Although technically it doesn't really matter. I think the proper rule is actually like you shouldn't be walking on the escalators.
You said elevator earlier. Do you mean escalators?
Oh, I said elevator?
Yeah, for the first time.
Okay. Let's start that over.
Okay.
So one of my friends said, the white dude at my home station yelling at me in Japanese saying, "This is not America," for standing on the right side of the escalator. And I was like, why? That's funny. Why did he say that? And she said, he was telling me off saying it's the rule in Japan to not stand on the right side. I said it's not a rule and pointed to the sign in the station that tells people to stand on both sides. And then he yelled, "This is not America," in Japanese.
Oh my god.
America janai desu.
Jeez. Also, like, yeah, I'm sure it's not like a written rule anywhere. And so whatever, if she's not in the way of anybody. But you ever notice, like, sure, if you want to kind of talk about this, Tokyo is what? You stand on the left side, usually, and then you walk. The walking
Up
traffic
the
is on the right side.
Yeah.
Osaka is the opposite. It's the right side, and then you walk through on the left side. What is Kyoto? Do you know?
Left.
Is it left?
Left.
How silly. Because Kyoto's right above Osaka. What is like, so places like further than that, like Tottori or like Okayama and stuff, I've asked my partner, like, which side is it? And he's like, I don't even know. Like, even in Kyoto sometimes too, we'll go and like, you can tell people are kind of like...
It's confusing,
like,
because you get on the train in Osaka and you get off at Kyoto and you're like, where do I stand?
Yeah.
But I think technically you're not really supposed to walk on the escalators anyway.
Oh.
So it's okay to stand on both sides. There are Japanese cartoons about this. I'll find it and link it.
Cool. Yeah.
Takashi showed it to me before.
I didn't even know that.
And I was like, what? I didn't know that. And he's like, yeah.
See, and that can be like some pick-me behavior by other foreigners too, is like they try to instill these not rules into you, but they're like, how do you not know that? Like, you only have to stand on the unspoken rule. And they're like, you see, like, yeah, this person was wrong because they were in Tokyo and they're only standing on like the right side or whatever. It's like, no, like, clearly this is not a law, Yeah. And so
you're not going to go to jail for standing on the wrong side of the escalator.
Yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, that's a pretty common pick-me behavior too, is like policing other foreigners and like, getting mad at them for following or not following certain rules. Yeah.
Not knowing certain unspoken rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another person said, "Girl, I'd need all day to talk about mine 7 years later, and I still can't find many foreign friends because most of them act like that. Pick me. Especially in the Inaka, they all have a superiority complex about living in the real Japan."
Okay. Yeah.
And then another one, that wearing kimono is cultural appropriation.
Mm-hmm. Like people who say wearing kimono is cultural appropriation are pick me. That is a pick me thing to say. You mean?
Yeah, like policing other people.
Yeah.
But okay, so I'm a white lady. It's not it's not up to me to decide what is cultural appropriation, but I mean, what do you think about, I mean, you're not Japanese either, but like foreigners wearing kimono, it's...
No. Like, I'm not Japanese, so it's not like 100% my place to say. But if we're going to think about it as an Asian woman, thinking about, I'm Korean, so let's say white people or non-Korean people wearing like a hanbok or whatever, like there's time and place for everything. As everyone knows, there's a difference between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation. And I think people who come to Japan and rent kimono and wear it around respectfully and follow, like the traditional dress of it, I guess. Like, I think that's fine. I personally have never met a Japanese person who was upset at foreigners wearing kimono either. My partner is Japanese. I'm not. And we have worn kimono together. And I don't think in those cases, it's cultural appropriation at all. It becomes cultural appropriation when you turn it into a sexy kimono and wear it for like Halloween, or, wear like a certain makeup or hairstyle or kind of like a Halloween costume-y type of kimono, and then, make fun of that culture while wearing that kimono and stuff. So, I mean, if you're just wearing it because you're visiting Japan and like renting it from a place, like, I don't think that's cultural appropriation at all. And same for tourists or visitors like who visit like Korea and stuff and like rent hanbok. Like, again, if you wear it respectfully and know the reason behind the dress and like, I guess the occasion and like what kind of wear you're putting on, then I think that's fine. Just educate yourself on it. Yeah.
I saw, so in the context of this, the person was a foreigner who was married to a Japanese guy, and she wore kimono in her wedding photos.
Okay.
And somebody had commented, "Don't do that. It's cultural appropriation."
Do you think the husband is like thinking about that? It's kind of like silly to comment that in those cases, because it's like, this is her wedding photo. She's married to a Japanese person who like clearly does not feel that way about her wearing his cultural attire. Like it's silly. Like, yeah.
So the person, a friend of mine, it was their post.
Yeah.
They had responded like, "Don't you think it would be more rude for me to refuse to participate in my partner's culture?"
Yeah.
Like if he and his family wanted me to wear kimono for a certain occasion, and I was like, "No, I can't.
Yeah.
I refuse."
Yeah. It kind of becomes an issue when, like, do you remember that scandal when Kim Kardashian tried to, like, trademark kimono? Yeah. That's, like, when it's a problem, And who was it? Like, the mayor, the governor of Kyoto, like, wrote her a letter saying, like, please don't do this. This is, like, a very important...
Is that why she stopped?
Yeah, I think that's the only reason. Well, two, right? Because people were calling her out on social media, and then, like, someone in Kyoto, like, actually called her out, like, a Japanese person, and was like, you can't do this, or, like, please don't do this, like, especially because she wanted to, this was before Skims became Skims. It originally had plans to be called kimono. And so that's the thing, right? It's like, she wants to use this traditional wear, like the word that describes traditional wear, for, undergarments and like underwear and stuff.
Something
and, like,
completely different.
Yeah, unrelated. And she's not Japanese. And like to trademark like a word that that is like part of, a certain culture too is like wild. Like, so yeah. Anyway, that's when it's an issue, of course.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So I have, because I'm a content creator, so of course I get some of the most vile things in my comment section sometimes. So I have a lot of personal stories. And then also I made note of comments that I've just come across.
Yeah. Okay. You get into that. I want to hear, because I'm not a content creator. And so I think the things Frankie and I come across on a daily basis are obviously very different. So please tell me. Yes.
Okay. So something I often get when I post like lesser known areas is that I'm ruining the location because I'm posting about it.
Huh.
So, I mean, it's kind of funny because a lot of times I'm working with local tourism boards because they want people to visit.
Yeah.
So
you're literally getting hired by those places to promote those areas. Like, okay, sure. Also, ruining the location. What do you, like, are you going there every day? Like, do you live there? Like, I doubt people who are commenting on that, like, live in those certain areas or something, Well,
I guess they just assume that any place that gets posted about is going to be flooded with tourists the next day. And I mean, I guess sometimes that might happen, but it depends. Like if the place wants visitors, then...
in the case where the prefecture is paying you to promote it, they probably would love that. Honestly, they probably need that, to be honest. So
that's different than like posting a picture outside of somebody's house and being like, "Look at this amazing location. Everybody come here." Yeah. Okay. I have a video about this yokai town in Hyogo Prefecture. They have like little statues of yokais like on the benches. So
what is a yokai for people who don't know?
It's like a spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spirit.
I don't want to say it's a monster, but like a spirit.
Not a monster, but like a type
for
of
what different things
spirit.
in Japan, like nature spirits. Like what is a yokai really? Sorry, not calling you out. It's more just for educational purposes.
So basically like spirits, like supernatural beings in folklore.
Okay.
So yeah, this town, like a famous author who wrote a lot of stories about like folklore and yokai and stuff. He was from this city, so they made these yokai benches for photo spots so people will come and visit the town. So one of the comments on the video was, "You're disrespecting an entire culture without realizing it."
Huh?
What?
Why?
By filming in the photo spots? But also, funnily enough, I had somebody message me on Instagram recently who was like, "I work at Fukuzaki City Hall. Your videos are so much fun. Thank you for introducing it to people. Like, I'm so glad we're getting more visitors." There you go.
There you go. Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Another comment I got recently. An opportunity to make oneself important by advertising and promoting hidden gems. I don't appreciate it. Although, and because it is a unique place, the result could be that it will soon be spoiled. From George.
I was going to say, wow, you have like their name written down. Okay.
Not their full government name.
Yeah. George. Thanks, George.
Yeah. Another fun comment. I hope you leave because we don't want foreigners, says random foreign man.
Okay.
Okay. I posted about a summer festival, which had dates in a few different cities. And one of them was in a part of Fukuoka Prefecture. In a city called Kitakyushu. So this person commented, "This is not Fukuoka. It is Kitakyushu, which is more than 1 hour by train."
Okay.
But like, it's in Fukuoka.
It's in Fukuoka, though.
So what do you want me to say?
Yeah.
Okay. Another lovely one. Some things are supposed to be hidden and reserved for natives only. Why must you Westerners invade everything?
Okay.
From Miriam.
The most like Western ass name ever. Miriam.
I think I did reply and I was like, "Ma'am, do you have a mirror?"
Yeah.
And she is like, "I'm ashamed to look at myself." I'm like, "Okay."
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, okay.
It's a little too much. Yeah, this last one is not really a pick-me situation, but I had a tourism project somewhere in Yamanashi Prefecture, and one of the locations we visited, we had a local guide with us.
Yeah.
And this was an elderly guy.
Okay,
And
okay.
so it was me and another content creator.
Yeah.
She was Taiwanese.
Yeah.
So she's Asian.
Yeah.
Looks Asian.
Yes.
But we both speak Japanese.
Yeah.
But the tour guide was only, like, even if I asked a question, he did not look at me. He only talked to her. Like, everything he was explaining, even handing out the pamphlets, he was only handing them to her and talking to her. And even the clients that were with us were like, "Hey, what about Frankie too?"
Hey, how y'all doing?
Yeah. So I was talking to the Taiwanese influencer about it at dinner, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a little frustrating earlier." And she was trying to rationalize it to make me feel better. And she was like, "Well, I mean, your blue eyes are intimidating, so maybe that's why he couldn't look at you."
So funny. Your blue eyes are intimidating.
Yeah.
Sure, bro. Okay. Well, I'm sorry you experience comments like that. That must be very frustrating from time to time. I mean, I know a lot of it is like uneducated people or just like people, people who like leave nasty comments online, especially, or like they actually just have nothing else to do. Like, I don't know. I try my best not to think of them because they don't deserve my time. Anyway, but yeah.
It's okay. It doesn't bother me as much as it used to now.
Okay, good.
It just becomes funny.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it on here.
But call out those names, especially the Georges and the Miriams, because like, what do you mean? But anyway, now I'm going to get into like some personal ones, some that I have like thought of in my own experience, like that I've come across, and then some, unfortunately, that I'm guilty of probably, or let's put that hopefully in past tense, was guilty of. I really try my best not to do shit like this anymore. But, I feel like this is a really big, like, common one, but things I see in comments and in person a lot is like people bragging about getting the N1 or like getting a high score on the JLPT within like a year or a couple years of moving here. I think that was like a comment you came across too, right?
Yes. Yeah, what did the person say? This was not on my video.
Yeah, this was on another creator's video that we both follow. Yeah,
the creator had posted about passing N3 and she was really excited to get her results.
It's great when you pass any test, like congrats. Exactly. Like it's hard,
So someone said N3 in 6 years. I've been here 10 years and passed N1 after 3 years. Yikes.
Like, what do you want? A medal or something? Like, who cares? Okay. So people like that, like, we don't need it. We're out of that era of like bragging what JLPT we have, unless it's a happy situation where we finally pass it. I'm waiting for that day when I finally pass the JLPT. Yeah. Okay. This next one I kind of categorize more as like a gyaku pick-me, so like a reverse pick-me. If you remember from the Reddit we read at the beginning of the episode, so a Japanese person commented and they were saying, you know, like, why do foreigners who live in Japan act so nasty towards each other? But then they were kind of like thinking about it, and Japanese people do this like to each other who live abroad as well. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, at least the behavior spans across seas, I guess.
Human behavior.
Yeah, but my reverse pick-me I was thinking of was Japanese people complaining about like tourists, or not even Japanese people, like people, let's say in Japan in this case, complaining about tourists and like taking up space and like, yeah, really just feeling like only they have the right to certain areas. But then they'll like go to places like Hawaii, in my personal experience, to, you know, visit there, and like there's tons of tourists there in Hawaii, and like I wrote the word infiltrate. That's a very strong word, but I mean, they just like visit, and especially in Japan, there's like a weird, strong obsession with Hawaii, and like, you know, to the point where a lot of Japanese people or non-natives will buy property in Hawaii, and like they do all of that cringy touristy behavior. And so it's kind of like interesting to hear them complain about tourist behavior here in Japan when like I'm sure they're not the best tourists outside, you know, or like in other countries that they visit and stuff. So that was like a reverse situation I was thinking of. Obviously, another, I don't know if it's like pick me or not, but the people that say like, if you don't like it here, just go home, because, you know, you always have a foreigner here who's like, there's nothing wrong with Japan. Japan is a perfect place and I love living here. And like, if you don't like it, then go home. Like, that's kind of pick me to me. Yeah.
That's definitely pick me behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
That reminds me of something funny. This was a few years ago. I saw a YouTube video of some girl, I forget where she was from, but she was saying, it was a video why I left Japan. So she was saying she didn't really like the work culture and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But all the comments were like, if you don't like it, leave. And she's like, I did. What?
I did, because I knew I didn't like it. And like, that's like another, like, it's not pick me, but that's another like frustrating thing you kind of see here too, is like people who, no. This last one I had, it is unfortunately a personal example. So this is something I unfortunately used to do in my like first cringy years in Japan, where if I was like eating dinner with a group of people or a group of like friends and stuff, and we're at a restaurant, okay, I'll just admit it. Probably at the time, I made the assumption like I spoke the best Japanese, which sounds like so cringy to like say out loud. I can't even remember my mentality, but basically I would like often, you know, go around the table and ask like people what they wanted to eat, you know, like what are we going to order and stuff. And then I would be the person to not even like ask to do this. Like I would just take it upon myself to call the wait staff over and then like just order for everybody and like be the tanto, like the leader of like ordering food and talking to staff without like people asking me to do so. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so someone, thankfully, in that friend group after a while, like called me out on it. And they were like, you know, like, why do you always like order for us? Like, I can order myself. And I can, like, we can order our own food. Like, you kind of like take over the table a little bit. And I was like, oh! And so that was like, you know, after, I'm so thankful they told me that, because unfortunately I feel like it's one of those things I probably would not have like noticed about myself for a long time. I don't know, because like in my mind, I'm just trying to help, you know?
Yeah.
But I can see how it looks to others. Yeah. And now that I'm thinking about it, right, like there's a difference between someone asking you, right, like, oh, can you order for me? Because like, I don't know how to say this, or like maybe if they aren't confident or if they don't want to, there's nothing wrong with like asking your buddy, like, yeah, you can order for us, that's fine. Or like, can you tell them whatever. But like, this was not the case. I like was just assuming that they couldn't, or like, I just felt like I could the best. And so I'm so sorry. I apologize for my previous actions. I apologize for my past actions. It's very cringy. It is very pick me. So try not to do that, please. Yeah.
That's growth.
Yeah. Growth. We're here. Growth in 2025. This was 2017 me. I don't know her. Yeah. 2017 to probably 2019. I don't know.
Until yesterday.
This was actually Frankie this morning when we like went to eat lunch, you know. So yeah, if I ever do that, I'm sorry. Just call me out on it.
I never noticed it, so maybe you stopped.
I don't know, but yeah, I would like to think I stopped. But one of those times where like I'm so thankful someone did call me out on the bullshit because that's kind of cringy. Do you know anyone like that who's not me?
No, I can't think of anybody.
Okay.
But since we're on the topic of,
of me being cringy.
no, of confessions of our own old pick-me behavior.
Oh, yes.
I think the first couple years that I was in Japan, I was, because I was, more in the beginning stages of learning Japanese, so I was really excited when I learned new things. So I think I probably did correct people a lot. Maybe not like directly to them, like you said it wrong, but in my head I was like, oh, that wasn't the correct word.
Yeah.
So I think, became less judgmental about language mistakes. Like, who cares? People are just doing their best. And I think I also realized, especially in the beginning, I was really envious of people who could just seamlessly have a conversation.
Yep.
So I was judging their vocabulary. But I was too shy to speak myself. So, Yeah. But I grew. That's in the past.
Hey, we're all about growth and like self-realization and stuff here. And also, I mean, you said you're probably just like envious or like jealous, right? Because you like couldn't talk yourself. Yeah. And that's where all of this behavior comes from, probably, is projection, right? Like, like, and so people projecting their like insecurities and stuff onto other people. And so let's just all be kind to each other. I wish we could all get along like we did in middle school when I could bake a cake with rainbows and smiles. Do you know what movie
She doesn't even go here.
Thank you! Finally.
I was waiting for you to finish.
Yeah.
Okay.
She doesn't even go here. But
I just have a few more funny comments
that
I've seen before we wrap this up.
Good.
I saved a really funny one for last.
Yay!
Okay. That's why I'm also covering it.
I know.
So
I kind of saw a glimpse and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see. There was a foreigner complaining on Threads about other foreigners wasting food at the hotel breakfast buffet and saying we should close the borders. It was the most peace we ever had.
What?
Who's we?
Close the borders.
You're not part of that we.
What do you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. But this same person was also tweeting about how gay and trans people are the reason for Japan's birth crisis.
Shut the fuck
Sure.
up. Okay.
Sure.
All right.
This was something on Threads from a Japanese person. Thought it was funny. We're Japanese, and no, we don't think about ikigai or kaizen in our usual lives, but I'm glad to know it's serving some of you out there. Because like ikigai has become a very trendy thing. It's like your purpose.
Okay, I was gonna ask, like, could you explain it? Because even I don't really know what it is.
Calling,
kind
your
of,
purpose?
like your purpose in life. I guess your reason for living. Is that too dramatic? Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Trendy.
This is kind of trendy now, I guess.
Okay. That person is so right, though. I've never done something that I was upset about or something, and then a Japanese person came up to me like, it's okay. We're like, just think about kaizen, or like, like the power of kaizen will make it all okay or something. Like, what do you mean?
It's okay that we're imperfect.
Yeah.
Wabi sabi. Don't forget. Okay. So
the
last one, the person was, I think this was promoting like a local area or something, but somebody named John replied, "Oh my Amaterasu, please stop. This is complete bullshit. Just stop. Do the world a favor and don't post one more thing about Japan."
So the creator replied, "This video is sponsored by Nara Prefecture." Yeah, and I'm gonna take a leap and make a big assumption. So this creator, John, the one complaining, his name on Twitter is John Okuma. And so by that last name, I'm going to assume he is married to a Japanese. Oh, well, no, I mean, it'd be funnier if he made it up. But like, I'm going to just assume
know his story.
He's
I don't
like
know this man.
One of those dudes that, loves Japan and married a Japanese lady, like changed his name and again, just dogs on other foreigners for like coming to Japan, even though he himself is like a foreigner living in Japan and stuff.
Yeah. Do you know Amaterasu?
I don't actually.
It's the sun goddess of Japan. So I guess instead of saying, oh my God, he's saying, oh my Amaterasu.
Oh my God. Oh, sorry. Oh my Amaterasu.
He spelled it wrong too. He spelled Amaterasu wrong.
Okay, so it's not Amaterasu.
No,
it's Amaterasu.
Terasu.
Okay. I do it's kind of like funny boomer behavior. I mean, and I say boomer because I'm staring at his photo. It is a boomer.
Yeah. Also for bullshit, he put emojis.
Yeah, like that's what I was gonna call out is like a
and the
bull
poop.
and the poop emoji, and it's like this is complete bullshit. Like, love that, but yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think like. No, it's going to sound like ageism. I'm just joking. I'm just goofing and gaffing. But sometimes I think like X or like some social media needs like an age limit or something. It's like, okay. But shout out to that creator for just that.
Yeah. The funny response.
That one sentence shutting him down. But
yeah. What?
Anyway, that's all our pick-me behaviors for today. I'm sure this whole episode was us being pick-me's in Japan. I don't know. Let us know in the comments or don't, because I don't want to get my feelings hurt.
Yeah.
But
I think again we all have a little bit of pick-me in us. Yeah. It's only natural.
Right. It's like a rite of passage. I feel like to live in a foreign country is like
it's
you
the
have to be that
stages of
pick-me.
growth.
Yeah. Again, we know our faults. We're fully aware of some of our cringy
or maybe we're
behaviors.
unaware.
Or maybe
we made this episode about pick-me. So
honestly, yeah.
We're totally. Yeah. We have no self-awareness at all.
Yeah, maybe the episode title can be like two pick-me's rant about pick-me's or something like that. Like pick-meception.
Two girls who don't own a mirror.
Yeah, exactly. But there's one right behind us. If you're watching, we'll reflect a little bit in that mirror after the episode ends. But thank you so much for sticking around, listening, and watching. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day or week, and see ya in the next one.
Yeah, hope you got some laughs out of this one. Hope you can find humor in your own faults and stuff as well. So yeah, thanks for listening, watching, and catch you next time.
All right, bye.
Bye.